how to start your Monday morning. Start the fire, boil the water, grind the coffee, add filter, coffee in the filter, water into filter, watch it drip, more water, watch it drip some more, fill your cup, raise your cup, and no. Leave the house and leave it up to the professionals to make the coffee. I'll stick to the conversations. Welcome to Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. Hey, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. I cannot believe it. Today is our 80th show. It is phenomenal. You know, it's funny, I don't feel 80 years old, but whatever. It was kind of a crazy weekend. Daisy got baptized yesterday, and so still kind of sorting all that out, but it was so much fun, and a big thank you to everyone who came out to celebrate with her. It was just a wonderful day, so thank you for that. We have things are a little bit different this morning, and I'm going to try not to cry as I talk about this because I'm going to wait till the end. But you will notice hot tamales on my tray, and you will notice that I am not using my caffeinated cup today. I am using a Live in the Moment cup. I will explain all that at the end of the show, but just know that, after this weekend, you just kind of appreciate every moment. So with that being said, this is our 80th episode. Thank you so much for being here. Of course, we are here every Monday. We are broadcasting live from Every Media in downtown Royal Oak. Dean behind the camera there, Dean. And thanks so much for being with us today. Well, Mark Parent is here. And Mark, thank you for being with us. You, very exciting stuff going on for you this week. You are the founder of Inbound 281 and the visionary behind Studio 281. And you are a marketing guy. And first of all, I want to ask you this question. We did not talk about this before, but what is the difference between marketing people and PR people?
Well, I think the major difference is PR focuses a lot on press release type information that gets brand awareness, maybe for new products, maybe new locations, could be crisis management, those types of things. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that is a type of marketing. So,
right, for sure.
Yeah, in all fairness.
But it's so funny because sometimes I know throughout my career when I've said, oh, well, you're a PR person, and the person, I'm a marketing person. And it's like, oh, there's some competition there.
Well, it's two separate skill sets.
See, there it is.
See, if you need an advertising, if you need commercials, mm-hmm. you need an advertising company.
Okay.
If you need PR, if you need PR, you need a PR person.
Right.
It's a whole specialty.
Okay.
Today's marketers involve a lot of digital marketing.
Yes, and that is actually what we're kind of talking about.
Exactly.
Because you have, much like where we are now at Every Media, you have built your own studio.
Yes.
And the grand opening is tomorrow.
We have a grand opening studio. So Inbound 281 is announcing Studio 281, which is, it's essentially a multi-purpose studio that has a podcasting area. Mm-hmm. It has a talking heads area. It has a whiteboard area where organizations or manufacturers can draw out complex concepts to talk about. And it also has a webcam area, which is designed for anything interactive, anything on the web. So we kind of combine those areas mm-hmm. to help build a story around how we're going to help market that company.
Well, so you have said when we've, in our previous conversations, that your clients need to understand they kind of need to jump on the bandwagon. You know, everyone's kind of doing video. Everyone's, it's kind of a running joke. It's like, well, everyone's doing a podcast. I think my dog is doing a podcast, I mean, it's just like, but you saw the need for this for your clients.
Right. Well, I think there's a certain level of need that you're talking about here is everyone knows, I mean, everybody's looking at video today. In fact, any reports that you Google mm-hmm. right now, you'll find that the number one thing that they talk about is authentic video. So not every business can just snap out an iPhone and start videoing. There's a place for that type of video. So there's kind of a middle ground where it's not the super high-end commercial video, but video that relates to solving a business problem and engaging a prospect to make that personal connection. And so our whole studio was built around how do we build video for our customers mm-hmm. in which they can create that personal connection with their prospects to get to know who they are, more than just who the company is, the problems they solve, different types of actions that people can take in order to solve those problems.
And their backstory, right? So
Absolutely.
kind of, it's always so cool to go on a website and to kind of see where everyone started.
Right. And the backstory is oftentimes a tool that's used in a decision phase in a customer journey. So people that don't know who you are, where you don't have any brand awareness, these people are in an awareness stage. So they might need a different type of video.
Got it.
Someone that's maybe aware of what the problem is, maybe the next step would be a consideration phase. So there may be a different video for that. Now, once you've made that decision that this is the company that you are choosing potentially to go with, that's where the backstory really comes in. Because now they're saying, why should I choose you?
And what are you seeing as a marketer? I mean, you've been in this profession for how long?
Yeah, probably way too long than I want to admit to. Maybe like you.
All right, now let's not go there.
Well, I mean, I started out in this business 15 years working for ad agencies, basically. Okay. We built marketing communications for agencies, and they would take our work and they would mark it up. So we were the agency behind the scenes supporting the agencies.
Kind of funny, right?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Behind the agency.
Yeah, and kind of what happened was the digital age came in, and then people started doing, artwork themselves. People started buying Adobe. Adobe came out with their suite of products.
Right.
Graphics people started doing more work.
So in all these years that we've been in the business,
yes.
What is the one thing that has changed consistently?
Well, the technology has changed quite a bit. We went from the old playbook, which was the typical print, magazine, catalog, trade show, to everything digital, right? So we went from that to everything's on the web. Everything can be measured. I think one of the pivotal points in marketing was personalization was a big thing. That was one of the big switches, I think. And then now today, it's video. Today it's video.
So how much are your clients embracing this? Like when you say, hey, listen, let's do some videos. I've got the studio and come in and let's, switch it up a little bit. Are they fighting that? Are they embracing it? Are they on the bandwagon? What's the
clients that we're talking to, and we're just launching the video as of tomorrow,
right.
The video studio. So we have customers lined up for projects already.
Oh, that's awesome.
So our studio has been in the making for about a year now.
Okay.
The planning of the studio, what the studio looks like, the right equipment, the training for the right equipment. So they're embracing it.
That's good. Are you shocked?
Yeah. Well, I'm not shocked because I think there's a lot of barriers to video right now. To get high quality video and high quality audio, there are a number of barriers for companies. Many companies aren't really sure exactly where to go. Where do we go? Do I get a corporate video? Is that what I need?
Right.
And again, as I said earlier, oftentimes the corporate videos, you're typically in a decision phase in a customer journey, and the awareness phase and the consideration phase basically is untouched.
So that's what you have to tap into.
That's what you have to tap into. So it's for companies to go out and find a videographer. Oftentimes, you have to bring them your ideas.
Okay. Right, because they're not the idea person.
They're not the idea person.
You tell them the idea, and then they go shoot it.
Well, it's a whole skill set they have to learn. To be a videographer, to be an editor, it's a big job, as you know, in your business.
Yeah.
It's a super big job. And so to know that piece of the business, you're expecting the people who are coming to you are coming in with the creative. So what we've done is we've combined the creative part of it, of the marketing, to say, how can we build high quality video that makes a personal connection with our customers and build it in those phases, that customer journey, awareness, consideration, decision. And then how can we do it economical?
Right. Well, because that's the other thing, right?
Yes.
And I know in full transparency, when I left the Imagine Theater, and found Dean, it was turnkey, right? You walk in, he's going to handle everything. I don't have to be behind the camera, stuff like that, because that is a whole different skill set that I am happy to admit I don't have.
Right.
So that is what you've embraced as well.
Right. So that's probably one of the biggest barriers to entry is that manufacturers, service organizations, nonprofits, hey, I know we need video, but I don't know what to do.
Right.
Do I shoot my own video? Do I get a corporate video? What exactly kind of video do I need? So we help the clients, we help them build that story based on the input of that creative brief. We help them build the story. We help them write the copy. So we do everything turnkey. So our customers they come in, they schedule the consultation, they schedule the filming, and then they get their high quality branded video, essentially.
That's awesome. And all the fun, I'm excited about this because I'm involved in this. All the fun starts tomorrow. You guys have your ribbon cutting tomorrow.
All the fun starts tomorrow. Everything we work for starts tomorrow.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
Are you nervous?
No, I'm not nervous, but I'm tired. It's been a long journey, and it's like, okay, after tomorrow, I'll take it. I told my wife today, after tomorrow, I'm going to take a day off. She can't take a day off. People are going to be asking you
right,
for a video.
Right.
They're going to want to get a video, so you're going to have to take care of it. I said, gee, I just want a day off.
You're like, just a day off.
Just a day off.
Okay, so kind of explain how tomorrow's going to work, because it's an interesting concept of what you're doing.
Right. And again, our concept is to combine our marketing skills with video to help our clients win business, essentially, or persuade, right, so to speak. So tomorrow we start at 3 o'clock. The Auburn Hills Chamber of Commerce is going to do a ribbon cutting ceremony. So we'll have a big group for that. So that's going to be very, very exciting. Once we open the doors and cut the ribbon, we'll have drinks, beer, wine. And by the way, if you're a marketer or you're an owner of a business or a nonprofit, there's still room. I think we got 50 people signed up.
Okay.
We can take a few more.
Right.
And so there'll be food. There'll be drinks.
Will there be coffee?
Oh gosh, I almost forgot the coffee. There'll be coffee.
Oh,
yes. Yes, we'll have coffee. We're also going to have a professional photographer, and we're going to be taking corporate or social media headshots.
Very cool.
So get a free headshot while you're there.
Right.
Mingle with other marketers. And then at 4 o'clock, that's when things really get ramped up.
Yes, I'm excited about this.
Yeah. So I am pleased to say, really, that I persuaded, took a lot of work, to ask Brooke Allen if she would be the MC to host our individual podcast. So we're essentially giving away 12 podcasts during the show, starting from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. We're going to do a podcast every 15 minutes. That's going to feature a guest, their business, their title, whatever they want to talk about, something in a very positive way, all about their business. We're going to have we had a huge big screen TV. We're going to have their website in the background. We're going to have their nameplate on the screen. And this video is going to be designed for them to take home with them.
And this is just, you're doing
free.
this and it's free.
It's free, yep. I think I have 2 open spots.
So
if you're out there and you go to inbound281.com, I think I have 2 openings. This morning I checked, there were 2 openings left.
2 openings, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of talking going on tomorrow.
There's going to be a lot of talking, so rest yourself, please.
I'm like, more coffee, please.
Yeah, this is going to be exciting. So people are going to get a video that's all about themselves and their company. There's going to be no advertisement in it at all. At the end, we'll say, hey, built at Studio 281, and it's a gift.
Yeah,
and
that is amazing.
It'll take us a few weeks to cut them all out, but yeah.
So what is your biggest hope for tomorrow? Just with the different people you'll have, with everything going on, what you, as someone who's put this together, what are you hoping for?
Well, I hope that we have a lot of interesting companies coming, prospects that I've been courting on. There'll also be people that I don't know. I'd really like them to see what it's like to look at the offerings of a marketing company that has a video product that's very unique like ours. I think the 4 zones that we carry or that we offer in our studio are important to tell the story, essentially. So I hope they walk away with, hey, I can do video. We've taken away the barriers to entry. You don't need equipment. You don't need experience. You don't need a technical person. You don't have to be a videographer, which again is a tough job.
But you do need a host.
Yes, you do need a host. Well, if you're going to do the podcast, you're going to do a host. Now, and just so you know, our podcast area is really even more than a podcast area. It's an area where you might have a fireside chat, two executives talking about trends and dynamics or a customer. It's also an area where our clients can interview people. Maybe you've got a customer in California and you want to interview them and get a testimony put on your website. We've got a setup for that.
Right.
So we're incorporating all of the digital stuff with all of the different zones that we have to create a unique type of video that you typically don't see. So I think if they can walk away and say, wow, this is unique, there's no barriers to entry, we can do it very cost effective. And especially if they're using the studio, we do have customers that will require us to go out and get B-roll,
right,
at their facilities, or maybe A-roll at their facilities. But there are advantages to using the studio portion of it.
No, for sure.
So if I can change some minds that, hey, we can do video.
Right.
There is a way to do it. These folks, from the beginning of the process to the end of the project, they handle all the details.
And I think, you've said it a couple times of breaking the barrier, because it's intimidating.
Yes.
It's an intimidating thought to say as a business owner, oh, well, I need video. How do I even start?
Yeah. Well, it was intimidating for me too, because when I first started this process, I was originally going to hire a company to work with our company to do this. And what I found as I interviewed different videographers, that their job is so big, between the editing and the videography, all the things they have to do, you have to bring the ideas to them. And I guess I just realized that if you're a marketer and you have a lot of creative ideas, if you have control of that process, that I think you can you build a better process. Many of the videographers that I met were maybe too high end, right? So if you were doing a high end commercial,
you're priced out of it.
You're priced out of it. So when you're out looking for someone to do that type of work, it's difficult to find who's the right person. I can, do I spend $15,000 on a corporate video, or can I spend 6 hours in a studio and get 6 months worth of content that I could be posting?
Right.
And that's kind of what the difference is. But again, our video is really geared towards the marketing end of the business, not a rental part or anything like that.
Right.
So it's how do we enhance the customer's position? How do we support the sales team?
Right.
How do you introduce the salespeople? How do you introduce them to their prospects? What's the story they tell when they talk to their clients?
And the tools they use.
And the tools they use, absolutely.
Right. Okay, I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
I know you have to go, but one more question. This is a pet peeve of mine. I have moderated many fireside chats with no fire.
Well, we do have a.
Do you have a fireplace?
Well, absolutely. We're digital, right? We got a huge screen. I have an 80.
It's like, snap it on.
I have an 80-inch screen TV, and if you need a fire, if you want fire, I will put a fireplace on that screen for you.
I just think it's so funny. I'm always like, okay, so welcome to the fireside chat where there's no fire.
Yeah. There will be a fire.
It's just a thing, man. It's just my own personal thing. So
it's digital. It's not real, but it's digital.
No, I want real. No, all right. Well, listen. Website one more time.
Inbound281.com.
Okay, and 2 more spots left for tomorrow.
There's 2 spots for the live podcast, but there are openings to get free headshots and social media headshots. Come see what it's about. Learn a little bit about
awesome.
what's
All right.
happening.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I am looking forward to seeing you tomorrow with those big old scissors.
All right.
It's a lot of fun, right?
Thank you, Brooke.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And again, that is Mark Parent. So you have heard me talk about the Center for Financial Planning, and they are based in Southfield, and they have been around for 40 years, and they are celebrating those 40 years by actually having written a book, and all of their advisors have kind of contributed to different chapters, which is pretty interesting. And I'm lucky enough, actually, as I mentioned, I've moderated their events. I have another one with them coming up this week. In this book, it's called Finding Your Center. They do cover topics like goal-based planning, educational planning, and of course, retirement planning. And Nick Deffenler, he is one of their financial planners and has written chapter 5. And hey, Nick, how's it going?
Doing great, Brooke. Thank you for having me and having this conversation. Happy to talk through something we're really excited about, which is our book that we've written, like you've mentioned, for our 40th anniversary, and we all contributed to it. We're really proud of it, so happy to talk a little bit more about it with you today.
So, Nick, you have written chapter 5, I'm retiring, what happens now, and apparently a lot. Nick, tax efficiency, that's a huge issue in retiring, but what other major issues do you actually see come up?
Yeah, great. Another great question. So a couple of the areas that we really spend a lot of time on is oftentimes we encounter situations where clients retire and they have these quote unquote gap years of when certain forms of retirement income will start, whether it's a pension, Social Security. We look at the numbers and say, hey, you're 62, but it doesn't make sense to file at 62 for a myriad of reasons. So we have this maybe 2 to 5 to maybe even an 8-year window of time in that example to be very proactive and intentional with doing things like Roth IRA conversions, or if the client has after-tax brokerage accounts, being very strategic on realizing capital gains in a very tax efficient manner. So in my experience, in many, many situations, those quote unquote gap years can get lost if you're not working with a professional who understands how to put all these pieces of the puzzle together. So I would suggest, whether it's someone on the center team or any other, qualified certified financial planner that you're looking to interview with or that you currently do work with, make sure that that professional has an understanding of taxes and how all these things intertwine. Because it's extremely important, because there's been a lot of studies done that show if you're able to do this effectively, then you can significantly increase your net worth over time. There's no guarantee to that, of course, but being strategic on certain tax brackets and managing those brackets over time, Medicare premiums, and how does the money going to flow to the next generation, all those things are completely separate from the investments that we manage, which is obviously a extraordinarily important piece of what we do for folks. But all these things, as you're probably picking up on, extend beyond that. And that's important to us, because what we feel a good financial planner should bring to the table is more than just the investment management piece.
And Nick, of course, you will be presenting an educational session as part of the book tour. And this is going to be geared toward business owners, high earners, and executives. And of course, you promise it will not be boring.
Yeah, really excited to do that presentation. I know the first thing sometimes folks think when they hear taxes, it's boring, it's going to be lame. I promise you I make it exciting, I make it fun anytime that hopefully we can give you some tax tips to reduce taxes. That's hopefully is going to entice some folks to, or at least perk their ears up a little bit to want to learn a little bit more than that, or learn a little bit more about the topic, I should say. But we're going to be going over all those topics that you just mentioned, Brooke. So really excited to do that. There's so many little nuances within the tax code. And ironically, right now we have this kind of transition period where tax rates could be, the current tax rates that we have right now could be extended. They could potentially change. There's actually some legislation going through the House and the Senate right now. So a lot of things are in flux. But as we stand here today, if no changes are made right now, our current tax rates and many of the, I should say, rules in our tax code would expire at the end of 2025. So we'll talk about some of that, some of those potential ramifications. 2025 is a big year when it comes to taxes. So I would encourage you to come out, hear what we have to say. I can almost guarantee you that you'll come away with 1 or 2 good tidbits that you could take with you and potentially improve your overall financial plan. So really looking forward to doing that event and educating. That's what we love to do. At the end of the day, just make sure that we're providing great information to the community and be a resource for folks.
Well, Nick, the Center for Financial Planning, not only a great resource, of course, because actually, I don't think I mentioned it. This book is free. You guys don't even sell it. You just give it away. And you guys really care about the community. So I will see you on Thursday.
Thank you, Brooke. I appreciate it as well, and looking forward to chatting with you more soon.
And that book tour starts at 6 p.m., the panel discussion, of course, and you can still reserve your space. You can do that by going to their website, centerfin, that's F-I-N, plan.com. Well, it is a pleasure to meet you. This is Jordan Ewall, and Jordan, thanks so much for being here, of course. You are talking about something that I think everybody has witnessed on the roads lately, the 100 Deadliest Days of Summer. You are from Michigan Auto Law, and this is a campaign that is super important to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you for having
Yes,
me.
thank you.
It's great meeting you too. And yeah, it is an important thing to talk about. The 100 Deadliest Days is a time period from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And it's a time where we see kind of an uptick in collisions on the road. Actually, 30% of all the fatal crashes in the state of Michigan happen during that 100 days. It's important to us. We want people to know that, be aware about it, and take some steps to hopefully prevent crashes on the roadway.
So I had mentioned to you that I was a traffic reporter in LA and then came here back to Detroit as a traffic reporter. And what's so interesting is as soon as the weather gets nice, people start driving crazy. I mean, they're speeding, they're just not paying attention because I think everyone's so happy that there's no snow on the road.
Sure.
And they've got the windows rolled down, the radio up.
Yeah.
Right? And they're just not paying attention anymore.
Right. And I think also, being in Michigan, when you're in the winter time, you're told about the hazards, right? Like, oh, snow, ice, drive slow. But when it's in the summertime, I think it becomes more difficult to remember that there are still things that you need to be aware of. Obviously we're really familiar with construction and things like that happening right now. But just, the weather's nice. People are enjoying being outside. Trying to get where they're going to be. Kids are out of school, so I think that contributes to more drivers on the roadway at different times. And so, there's a lot happening, but I would agree with you. It seems like when the weather gets nice, we kind of forget sometimes that our attention should really be on the roadway.
Right. And of course, obviously, I think it was AAA and NHTSA both, the idea that teen drivers, they're the ones who suffer the most during these 100 days.
Yeah, there is a large, uptick for teen drivers in particular. And I think it's a combination of a few things. One being they just don't have that much experience, right? And there are other factors at play. Distracted driving applies to everyone.
Yes.
But it does seem to come up with teens quite a bit. We're very attached to our phones, and especially at that age, there's actually a dopamine hit that you get when you respond to a text or a social media post. So teens are more susceptible to want to answering those things, want to interact with
impulse,
friends.
I think, right?
Yeah,
It's
like they see it, it comes up, you get the
Yep.
vibrate, or comes even on the screen on your car, and they want to respond to that. So teens are pretty susceptible to what's going on because of their experience level and things in their chemical makeup that they don't even know about.
And we don't want to talk about, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So you guys have this pledge. So tell me about this, because there are prizes involved,
There
right?
absolutely are. So it is the Safe Drive Summer Pledge. You can go to our website, which is autolaw.com, or visit us on our socials, which is Instagram. Okay, so it's @_autolaw, Facebook, which is Michigan Auto Law. Go online, take the pledge. It's a pledge to drive safe, drive without distractions this summer. You have to be 14 to take the pledge and just a Michigan resident. Fill out that information and you'll be entered to win 2 $250 Visa gift cards, which will be announced in September.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you guys are working in conjunction, I think, with the Kiefer Foundation, right?
Yes, absolutely. So another kind of facet of our Safe Drive, initiative is with the Kiefer Foundation, which unfortunately Mitchell Kiefer was a young man in the state of Michigan who passed away as a result of distracted driving, and we will be donating $500 to the Kiefer Foundation for their efforts to spread awareness and remind people to stay focused and not drive distracted on the road.
We do this every year, right? We talk about the 100 deadliest days. We do it every year like clockwork. And I know it makes a difference, but when you're out on the road and you see these kids, you see the sticker on the car, oh, please be patient, student driver. And then you look over, you're trying not to get too close, but you look over and you see them messing with the radio and you're thinking, come on, please just focus, because you have no idea how that could change your life and someone else's.
Absolutely. And I think that also comes from conversations that parents can have, with their kids, but also peer to peer, right? Especially in the summertime, teens are probably spending more time together. They're not in school. So parents obviously can remind their kids, don't text and drive, don't use the phone, don't mess with the radio. But if you're a teenager and you're in the car with a friend, I say, hey, I'll take care of that if you're the passenger. Or could you please, save that for a time, when we're parked in somewhere in a more safe position.
When we're getting our Slurpees.
Right, exactly. When we're getting our ice cream and we're enjoying it, pick whatever song you want, but I'll be the DJ on the side.
Right, exactly.
And so I think that those conversations are really important to have, both from a parental authoritative figure, but peer-to-peer, because when you're a teenager, you don't really want to hear from your parents all the time.
No, definitely not.
No. So it helps when friends kind of kick in and you guys can keep each other accountable.
Exactly, yeah. And so my twins, they are counting down. They're 13.
Okay.
So they're already counting down as far as when they can start driver's training and all of that. But I do try to be very cognizant of, hey, look, if that walk sign is changing colors, you know, the light's going to change.
Exactly.
Like, look around you. Keep, before you go, make sure nobody's running a red light.
Correct.
Trying to teach them a little bit to be cognizant of things. And then, of course, like a year ago, it was like, we don't need to know this. Now it's like, oh, we need to know everything.
Exactly.
And I'm like, oh, do we really?
It's not just enough to know the rules. Obviously, rules, you got to follow them, but you got to be aware of your surroundings, right? Like the things that you're teaching them. Make sure you look both ways to make sure someone isn't running
And the
a red
radio.
light.
This is a huge thing because you cannot hear ambulances or
Correct.
emergency crews coming up behind you. So the radio volume has to stay down.
It has to stay down. I think it's important. You want the summertime, right? You want to hear the radio, your hair is blowing in the wind. But it's important to be aware of your surroundings and give yourself the best chance of hearing something like that if there is an emergency vehicle or something else happening that you got to pay attention to.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so kids can, is it just kids that can sign this pledge?
No, anyone can sign.
Oh, anyone. Okay.
Just you have to be at least 14.
At least 14.
14.
Okay.
Yep. So that's something. But yeah, it is geared to everyone because we want everyone to be a safe driver. But especially with teens because those extra influences and factors are at play. Teens, I know we talked about cell phones and the radio, but also drowsy driving. That's a really serious thing for everyone, teens included. If you're out late or you're up early and you're going somewhere, make sure you're well rested when you hit the road because it doesn't take much. Just feeling a little tired slows down your response time, doesn't let you react to things quite as quickly, and can lead to some serious consequences.
And I guess, too, impaired driving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Obviously, drinking and driving, that's never a good idea. Even for people who's part of an older crowd, even if you're below what's considered the legal limit, that can really impair your ability to drive. So obviously, we never encourage drinking in any capacity or drugs in any capacity while driving. And I think one thing that's really simple, too, is wear your seatbelt.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget that, but wear your seatbelt.
Aren't they annoyed by that alarm going off all the time?
I know, just a constant ding, but I think people forget because it's something that you're told forever, right? Wear your seatbelt, wear your seatbelt.
And we used to see signs everywhere. I don't know.
Click it or ticket.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if those are still.
But you used to see those and be like, oh, okay, of course I'm going to.
Right. It seems like an elementary principle, but it saves lives. It reduces injury. So we'll always encourage people to do that as well.
Okay, one more thing. Construction. People have to be careful during the construction zones, right?
I know.
And new drivers especially, and the move over law and all of that entails.
Absolutely. It is construction season in the state of Michigan. Nobody likes that. Makes commutes longer, makes it harder to get places. But yeah, be conscious of what you're doing in a construction zone. I would say build in extra time, not just so you get to your destination on time, but so that you get there safely and, make sure you're looking at the other cars and surroundings while you're traveling.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jordan.
Of course.
Okay, I know you have to go too. This is a very funny show. So usually people know that when they come on the couch, they stay on the couch. But today that is not happening.
Next time I'll stay on the couch.
So Mark had to take off, but I always ask this, and I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
So if you were to meet your younger self for coffee, what would you tell her?
What would I tell her? I think I would tell her you can do more than you think you can, right? Because when you're younger, you're in the moment. It feels very daunting or overwhelming, but you have to be kind of confident in yourself. And if you believe in yourself, there's a lot that you can do because you can be your own worst enemy in some circumstances. But I'd tell myself, just keep going. It all kind of works out.
I love that. High five, girl. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you so much.
Of
Okay,
course.
again, that is Jordan, and the website one more time so everyone can sign that pledge.
So autolaw.com, but also you can find us Instagram, Facebook, I think TikTok too. So you can go on there. Yeah, TikTok. Find us, sign the pledge, and we look forward to a safe summer.
All right, awesome. And I would love it if you, I'm sorry, I'm trying to juggle my notes
you're
here.
okay.
I would love it if you guys came back in September and announced the winners. That would be awesome.
I would love to, and I'll stay on the couch.
Would you promise?
I promise. I promise. Stay on the couch.
Talk about Dean, we need seatbelts. Seriously, thank you so
Of
much,
course,
okay?
of
And I
course.
will see you soon,
Yes,
hopefully.
thank
All
you so much.
thanks.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Okay, well, as we mentioned, we have, it is very funny. This happened last week. We were waiting for Lomas Brown last week, and he was late because he ran into Rick Mahorn in the parking structure here in Royal Oak. So he was a little bit late. We do have a guest that we're waiting on still, but so far he has not shown up. I have not heard from him. I'm trying to discreetly check my phone, but I am not seeing anything from Brian. So we will hope that he is safe out there on the roads because he was coming from Bay City. So I understand that that drive can be kind of difficult. So we usually never do this, but Eileen is here, and I'm just going to have her walk in because I can't find my one note that I was looking for. So come on here. Yep, you can come right here and sit right down next to me. Hi, girl.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so a couple disclaimers. I will say straight out that Eileen is actually family. so there is that, just so we get that out of the way. I like to always be like, okay, well, you know. But your story is so important because obviously summer, like the 100 deadliest days of summer driving, tick season is up.
Yes.
And, you know, we know that there is a certain time for ticks. I think it's what?
May,
right?
Late April, beginning of May. Yes.
Okay.
May is actually Lyme disease month.
Okay.
So, like, you know, Lyme disease awareness month. So, as everything basically has
something.
a ribbon awareness.
Right.
Lime green is the ribbon awareness month for Lyme disease, but May is Lyme disease awareness month.
Okay.
So that's when the ticks really start to come out. They start out as small as a poppy seed.
Oh, wow.
But they go all the way really into July.
Okay.
So
people have, you know, I mean, camping season, I mean, there's so much, if you live on a lake, I mean, you have to just be really aware of the damage that a tick can cause because they can, of course, cause Lyme disease.
yes, but not every tick.
Right.
But that's the hard part about it is you don't know which one.
And you don't want to take a chance.
And you don't want to take a chance. But there's some great resources. If you do have a tick on you and you find it, don't burn it off. Don't try and rip it out. The best way to take it out is there's what I found personally is in those little nail clipper kits.
Yeah.
There's the one little clipper. It has almost I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like
is it a little grabber?
Like a little triangle.
Oh, okay.
And it's flat, and you can take it and you just kind of pull the tick out by the head.
Okay.
So when you irritate the tick the most, and when I know it sounds disgusting, but it regurgitates the saliva back into you.
Really?
That is when you will become infected.
Really?
So when it feeds on you and it regurgitates its saliva back into you, that is when, if it does have the Lyme spirochetes, that's when you would become infected.
Okay.
So if you can take it and you're not trying to pull on it, anger it, basically, and you remove it from the head, like backwards,
Okay.
that's the safest way to get the tick out. If the tick is still alive and it has...
Well, I was hungry, but now I'm not.
If you have an old medicine bottle, get a wet cotton ball, damp it, put a couple pieces of grass into it. You can go on to the state of Michigan's website. There is a tick testing site that you can send it to.
Okay.
They're going to ask you some questions. If the tick was on an animal, if it was on a human, where was it from? You answer some questions. You can mail it in, and they will test the tick for Lyme disease.
Oh, okay. So that's very important to know.
Only if it's still alive, though, because they can't test a dead one.
Okay.
But yes, they will test it for you.
Okay.
Michigan Lyme Disease Association, it's mlda.org. They do all the testing, all the research, all the funding for the state of Michigan. They are the only organization. They actually saved my son's life. They were the greatest resource by far none gave me everything I needed to help him. He was sick for over 10 years.
Yeah, so let's backtrack for a minute
yes.
because you're so knowledgeable on all of this, but the whole reason you're so knowledgeable
Yes.
is because AJ, he was 7?
He was 7.
7
yes.
years old, and just take it away from there because
So he was 7. He woke up one morning and he was not himself. He literally went from his bed to the couch and he basically couldn't get up again. He lost he was completely pale, lost all color in his skin. He lost the sparkle in his eyes. Like his lips didn't have any color to it.
and so lethargic, right?
So lethargic. We went from doctor to doctor to doctor. We were even seeing oncologists. He had every kind of pain you could have. He had, one day it was severe chest pain that literally knocked him to the ground. We had to carry him to the car. He had a plate of food in front of him and couldn't tell you what he had just eaten. He was in the 1st grade at the time and went from above grade level reading to couldn't finish a book. Like he couldn't he
comprehend
lost
it,
all
right?
the reading. Yes, he couldn't tell you his address. And then we went on a journey for over 10 years of just trying to get him through.
When was it actually diagnosed that it was Lyme disease? How long? That took a long time.
Well, we were lucky because my mom had a friend that had Lyme disease.
Okay.
And she was seen, which is another very big battle, but she was seen a Lyme literate doctor, which is very hard to find because a lot of doctors, and I don't have anything against doctors. I highly regard doctors, but in the medical field, what we've come across is if you don't have a tick embedded in you, if you don't have the bullseye rash, which only 30% of people get the bullseye rash, if you don't, the way that they test for Lyme is you either are positive or you're negative. If you are positive, you have Lyme disease. Because the only reason why you would have the positive bands is because you had been infected with Lyme disease.
Okay.
The CDC has a strict number of how many bands you have to be considered
So can you be
positive for Lyme.
Can you test negative but have all the symptoms?
Yes, you can get
You
a false
can.
positive. So the state of Michigan has a Lyme disease test called ELSA. AJ tested for ELSA and he tested negative. We then went on and did a test called a Western blot and he tested positive. So the CDC then at the time, I think they've changed the restrictions now, but at the time you had to test positive for 5 bands. He only tested positive for 3 of the 5 that they required. And so he was then told by an infectious disease doctor at 7 that he did not have Lyme disease, that he was making everything up and it was all in his head and we needed to take him to a psychiatrist.
That is
So were then questioned, do we even have deer in our yard? We live in the woods.
Yeah, you live in the woods.
And that had we ever even seen him be infected by a tick or bit by a tick or saw a tick?
Because
or,
I would think that it's not always, does it itch? Does it hurt? I mean, is it
you
always
can
evident?
have
I
a
don't-
tick on you and never even know that you've had a tick on
Right.
you. You can be, so the tick will feed and it'll drop off. And so I've had so many people over the years call me and say, my child was just bit by a tick. What do I do now? We found a tick on my kid. What do I do now?
It's like pure panic,
It's
right?
pure panic,
Yes.
yes. And so biggest thing I can always recommend is I have always told them about Michigan Lyme Disease Association because they are very, very underfunded. It's not a subject that people know about very much. The people that run it are all infected with Lyme disease. And so they don't get a lot of help because they're all trying to spread the word, but they're all battling their own,
They're battling it themselves.
their own afflictions. And then at the same time, it's not anything against a lot of other people who are sick with very, very difficult things, you know, but these people are suffering because you have something that one day you're completely bedridden. I've met people that are completely wheelchair bound. I've met people that have gone blind. I've met people whose child has been given their last rites in hospitals because they don't know what's wrong with them. They've been misdiagnosed for 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, and then they're told that they don't believe them when there's something that's wrong with them. And it's a very, very difficult thing because you've got somebody who's really suffering in pain.
And you know your
And
child.
they're sick.
Right.
Right. And then you have the medical community that's saying there's nothing wrong with you. And so it's very difficult. And you're watching somebody like they're miserable because one day, and it really is truly this way, one day their elbow hurts, the next day their knee hurts. The next, AJ went 2 years straight with a migraine and it never went away. And then they're having vision problems. They can't sleep. He literally, we watched him at night and he's sleeping and his body is literally trembling. It's like the muscle twinges going through his body.
The pain is so bad, right?
And it's just, he had no control over what was going on.
So he was 7.
He was 7,
How old is he now?
23.
He's 23. So AJ is such an amazing kid. You have 3 amazing kids. But AJ's battle, I mean, it has changed his life in ways
Yes.
that you would never have imagined.
Never. He now has epilepsy, which has contributed to the brain infection that he had from Lyme disease. Sorry.
No, I know. It's been such a battle for you,
Yes.
and to see your children suffer so much, and you are such an advocate for him, and he has been through it, but he's doing pretty well now,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So he's doing pretty well. He did have to leave college though,
Yes.
and so I know that is so hard. And you and Adam have done such an amazing job being his advocate, and of course his little brother and little sister too, right?
Which they both have Lyme disease also.
Right. And so they have it, but it hasn't affected them
No.
the way that AJ's been affected.
No, but my mom also has it, and it was passed on through pregnancy. And then, thank you. And then AJ was infected a second time, which gave him the co-infections, which the other 2 don't have. So he was infected a second time, which made him as sick as he was at 7, which we didn't know
You didn't
about.
know.
And so he probably would have lived his life, which most people do, with us never knowing that he had it. But with him being infected a second time,
That's what caused
the ripple effect of everything.
So when we're, and you just said, well, it's genetic, or it was passed down,
Passed
right?
down, yes.
So
because it's a
that's-
blood disease.
And that's so interesting because people, I don't know that there's awareness around that either. Because if it's something that is in the, possible, then more people should check.
And it can be like, if I had known early on when he was a baby, we could have done something. If we had been talking to a Lyme literate doctor, we could have done a treatment of antibiotics very early on, and that could have helped. Or if we had seen early symptoms early on, a simple round of like a couple days of antibiotics.
Like amoxicillin?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he was on amoxicillin, I can't tell you how many times, over 10 years. You have to treat the symptoms at the time of
Right.
what's been going on, but amoxicillin was one of the antibiotics he
And then
was
they
on
say
at the
after a while
time.
it just stops working anyway, right? You kind of get immune to it if you're on it all the time.
Yes,
To
but I
some
mean,
degree.
he wasn't like, he was on, I mean, we were seeing the doctor every single month. You know,
Right.
so I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say go get out amoxicillin
No,
and
right.
treat your
Right,
your
right.
disease because you can't do that. That
Right.
you have to see a doctor because you have to be able to treat the symptoms that you're having, and everybody has different symptoms. Everybody has different things going on in their body, and you might have co-infections, and that's going to affect what is going on with your body at a different time. So you cannot just go out and say, oh, I need this or I need that and treat something because that's not the way it works. So I don't want somebody to think.
No, it's okay.
You know, but
We're
I'm
not
just
holding
saying,
Eileen responsible. So you are, you know, we always hear, and again, I love doctors, nothing against them, but sometimes you can go to them with a symptom and they will say, oh, well, I don't see that, or that makes no sense, or, you know, like they said about AJ.
Right.
And I think the biggest lesson from your story and AJ's is that you have to be your own advocate.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Right?
I mean, we saw multiple doctors, and they all challenged everything that we were saying, and I got into quite a few fights with doctors.
You? Never. I can't imagine such a thing, Eileen.
I mean, but I wasn't going to back down. No. I knew that there was something wrong with him. And again, thankfully, we had somebody that knew a Lyme literate doctor, and he was the only one in the state at the time.
I was just going to ask how, I mean, that seems like that's a pretty big specialty.
He was, at the time, his wife had Lyme disease, and he was just a family doctor, but he couldn't find anybody to help his wife. And so he changed from family practice to learning everything he possibly could and becoming a specialist in Lyme disease. Wow. And we would drive an hour and a half one way to go see him. Mm-hmm. And we were very fortunate, and he was the only one that would see children in the entire state.
Really? Only
mm-hmm.
pediatric?
Only pediatric, and he did it for 45 years, and then he retired. And he was very, very in high demand, mm-hmm. and he was pretty exhausted after a while.
Sure.
You know,
I'm sure it's like, okay, but, well, it's so okay. If somebody has been bitten by a tick, mm-hmm. and they are panicking or worried, what is your piece of advice to them?
Well, the very first thing is to try and see your doctor. Okay. And I would...
Just primary? Urgent care? What do you do?
I would try and see your primary. Okay. And I would try and at least get on 10 days of antibiotics. Even if they don't give you 10 days, even if they only give you 1 to 2 days... Mm-hmm.
It's better than
that's
nothing. That's
better than nothing.
Okay.
But at least try and get on some course of antibiotics minimum. Mm-hmm. But your greatest resource would probably be the Michigan Lyme Disease Association. They are going to help guide you in reaching out to somebody that is going to give you that information in the Lyme community at this point.
And then you mentioned a website.
That is MLDA.org.
Okay, so that's the website. And AJ now, I mean, he works.
He works full time.
Yep,
yes,
full-time.
he did end up having to do a compassionate withdrawal from school, mm-hmm. And he did have some short-term mental memory issues mm-hmm. from the seizures that he had. But he's doing much better. It's been a little over 1.5 years now mm-hmm. since the last one. And so he's doing a lot better now.
Yes.
And, moving on and things. And so he's doing a lot better.
Well, I think that the one thing that you guys have taught him too is resilience.
Yes.
Right? Resilience, advocating. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the pain is, when you're in so much physical pain, mm-hmm. it is so hard to see the sun, I mean, you're feeling like nothing is ever going to get any better, but he has come through it.
He has, it's been a long road, mm-hmm. but he definitely has a fighting spirit for sure.
I think he got that from his mama. I'm pretty sure he did. Well,
So
thank you so much for coming on.
I do have to say, probably the biggest thing you can do for yourself is if you're going to go out walking in the woods, you're going to go out camping, you're going, yes, definitely, and tick checks, you know.
On the dogs, I mean on animals
on the
too,
dogs,
right?
on yourself, you know, just the prevention, you know, just.
And you should always wear, is it light color clothing?
Light color clothing, because you'll see it.
Okay.
But, you know, just check yourself. You know, when you're done, check yourself. Check in between your toes. Check your legs. Check your arms. You know, check like your hip areas. You know, feeling your hair, like your armpits, your
Just
navel
everywhere.
area. Just check everywhere.
Okay.
You know, that is the best thing. If you're going to go out, you're going to be out in your yard, you're going to be out in your woods. You know, my friend's mom that I told you about, she lives in Livonia. She got bit by a tick from a bag of mulch that she bought from Home
Really?
Depot. I mean, so it's,
So you never know. You don't have to be camping to get bit by a tick.
You know, so it's just the best thing that you can do is just prevention and just, you know, checking yourself
And also be aware,
and be aware.
right?
Yeah.
So prevention, be aware, advocate, resilience. What other word?
Yeah.
What other word do we have? What other word do we have for today? I don't know. Well, I'm glad you're up here right now. I had told you that I was going to talk about this before we started. I don't know that I can actually do it right now.
Got you.
Dean needs to come back with a Kleenex, right? He's like,
I got mine.
he's like,
I got
I am
mine.
coming, man. I am coming. He's not only the control guy, he is the tissue guy. Thank you. So, I had mentioned, you know, the hot tamales. I had mentioned my cup. Thank you. So one of our dear, dear friends from WWJ, known as stellar reporter Mike Campbell, he passed away yesterday. And even though I've been gone from WWJ for almost 2 years now, he was the one that we exchanged, you know, shift change, like anywhere, right? You only have 3 minutes to do it there. So shift change, you're like running around, and he'd have his orange. But he would always have a box of hot tamales for me. So that was our thing. He thought it was so funny. I was allergic to chocolate. And so he always brought me hot tamales or Good and Plenty. I would take either. So yeah, so when I heard the news yesterday, I can imagine how they're feeling in the newsroom today. And even in Detroit, because he's been a mainstay on the airwaves, and he has had some incredible moments of his career. He was even called a superhero at one point because he literally found a missing woman. He like stumbled upon her when he was reporting another story. I mean, it was just the craziest things that he did. He loved boats. He loved the water. He loved his wife, Terry. He loved his kids. And he loved the news. He especially loved the weather. I would always sit there and be like, come on, Mike, nobody cares about the barometer. Can we wrap this up? But he was a boat guy, so boat guys care about that stuff. So it has been, you know, Daisy's baptism was yesterday, and then a couple hours later I found out about Mike. So even when you don't see somebody for a couple of years, you know, they continue to touch your heart. You remember them with love, laughter, and of course, hot tamales. So that is why we have hot tamales today. So here you go, man. So thank you. You know, just the thought of people you never know when, I guess when you're done, or when, you know, interestingly enough, you just posted a couple days ago, maybe it's time for a new adventure. So my thoughts are with everyone in his family and his wife, and of course, everyone at WWJ, the city of Detroit even. We love you, Mike. We miss you always, and we will always think about you with each bite and each piece of hot tamale and Good and Plenty. Okay, well, this has been our 80th show. Kind of heavy, huh? But I wouldn't trade it for anything. Thank you so much for being with us. And of course, we'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.